Welcome to the Army Football Podcast. This is a special Armed Forces Bowl edition. I'm here with my co-host Steve Anderson. We're going to go over the bowl matchup, Army versus Houston, Saturday afternoon in Fort Worth. And we're going to also, of course, review the Army-Navy game, which we haven't got to on this podcast yet. And we're going to talk about a bunch of things. So, Steve, it's basically an exciting time here for Army as they go into Dallas tomorrow with 10 wins, looking to get the 11th win, which would be the most in Academy history for a season.
It's going to be quite the matchup against Houston to get that 11th win. But absolutely looking forward to it. I know I'll be, front and center from my living room or my garage, or basically every TV in the house will have it on. So wherever I go with my kids or wherever I'm watching it, it'll be right there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the road and how Army's got into the bowl game. 8 straight wins, Steve. They haven't lost since that overtime setback at Oklahoma. I was looking up some stats, just trying to find any kind of nugget I can for coverage. And this defense, the last 3 games, has given up a total of 3 touchdowns. I mean, we got to talk about Jay Bateman leaving Army's defensive coordinator after the Navy game. He takes a job as a co-defensive coordinator for Mack Brown in North Carolina, so he will not be with the team on Saturday. But I was talking to James Nautical, and James Nautical said, Jay Bateman's left them with enough knowledge and a base of what they do that he feels like the defense will be okay against Houston. And John Luce stepping in to safeties coach to be the interim defensive coordinator, they feel kind of comfortable with that. Just talk about the way the defense has played and what you've seen and what might be different, with Bateman in North Carolina and now an interim DC.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think the defense has been playing lights out, and that's behind, how prepared Coach Bateman gets them. I like to hear the positive, reinforcement from the coaches still at West Point saying that they feel like Coach Bateman has set them up for success. You want that kind of camaraderie across the team and across the staff, especially to where, it's a very attrition high job where guys come and go all the time. Bottom line is, though, as prepared as they are, you cannot replace Coach Bateman's instincts and ability to kind of feel out the game and know what play call to call. And from all the guys I talked to at the academy that are still there, they say Coach Bateman's a real players coach. Really knows how to motivate his team and get his team to get into the moment and not worry about what had happened or prepare for what's going on, but just play that down in that moment. So I know that the team will be up. They'll be excited. They'll be ready to go to get their 11th win. I don't foresee anything dropping off. I just believe that the game is going to be called differently than if Coach Bateman was there, and that's just, that's just the bottom line. And I don't think that's going to change the effort, the way the players execute, how fired up they are. I don't think that'll change at all. So I think the most interesting stat going into this game is how Army has the least amount of plays per game versus Houston, who has the most plays per game. A team that 90% running the ball versus a team that is 75, 80% passing the ball. It's a real clash of Titans, sort of say, of opposite spectrums that we'll be able to watch come on Saturday.
Yeah, you look at just a couple more things on Coach Bateman. The recruiting that he did at Army has been really incredible. He recruited North Carolina and Virginia, and you look at the talent that Army's gotten from there. The starting quarterback Kelvin Hopkins, Jalen McClinton, Glenn Coates, Cole Christensen. I'm probably Ray Wright. I'm probably missing a bunch too. Sandon McCoy, a fullback who will be one of the Army's top fullbacks next year. He's just really recruited that that region pretty well, and that'll definitely be missed. And he's a guy, like you said, Steve. He knows how to motivate his players, and he knows how to have a little fun too. Man, he would yell and shout at players when they weren't doing the things right in practice. But he also came up with some nicknames like, Malik Herbie Hancock. That is one of the all-time classic nicknames of Army football to me. And he just found a way to keep it light at times, but definitely. Definitely when it came down to the game, it was definitely serious. Let's get after him. And, Coach Monken said the next Army defensive coordinator must have Bateman's mindset of aggressiveness and getting after offenses. So we'll see if Coach Luce is, promoted to, permanent defensive coordinator, or if they go outside the program and look for, somebody, the former Georgia Tech defensive coordinator Woody has been mentioned, but Monken said he won't interview till after the bowl game. They got to focus. He's got one focus now, and that's winning this game. And you just, Steve, let's go back to the Navy game and real quick. Army's third straight win. They win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy for the second straight year, which earns them a trip to the White House. And you wouldn't expect anything less for this game ever since Coach Monken's arrived at West Point. This game's really been tight, the Army-Navy game, basically every year. And the defense really stepped up in that game, forcing 4 turnovers, and kind of gave the offense an assist in that game, no doubt, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when the turnovers came. I mean, they were throughout the game, but they were pivotal. There were some pivotal turnovers that we created late in the game, and that'll always benefit the team that creates turnovers. And then just overall, throughout the game, it just seemed like both teams kind of understood how the other ones were going to attack each other. There were some good plays on both sides, but overall, at least from me watching it, it felt like Army was in control the majority of the game, if not the entirety of the game. It didn't really feel like, even when, Navy did their little run, it didn't really feel like it was getting out of hand. And I think that's just because of how Army has changed that mentality where previously, even if Army had a lead and the team started to come back, it was kind of like, oh, here we go again. Where now we have the ability to put the foot on the throat and just close things out. And, again, the defense played lights out. And the offense, was executing. And, I saw a little more penalties than I'd like to in that kind of game, as far as the holding, not the holding, but the block below the waist. I felt like those were a little ridiculous. But overall, I think the world, especially the Army-Navy fans, got what that game has been all about for the past 100 and whatever years.
Man, yeah, I mean, just two teams, just playing smash mouth, get after it football. And, Jalen McClinton was a big player in that game. He forced the fumble when Navy was going inside the Army 5-yard line, looking to score their first touchdown of the game. And you look at, the momentum swing with that Kelvin Hopkins run on 4th down that originally was credited with a first down. Then they reviewed it for what seemed like an hour, Steve. And then they came back saying he was short. Little loss of momentum there, but Army responded. And, that's what this team's been about, like you say, all year long, right? I mean, they don't really... I know that they said this a lot at the beginning of the season. You hear it a lot on football teams, don't flinch, and but they really abide by that. I mean, all season long, Steve, even against Oklahoma, they just put their heads down and played 60 minutes and plus against a team that's now in the college football playoffs in the semifinals. So, I mean, it's just been that it's a mindset, no doubt, with this team now, right?
No, it's what's expected. It's what the mentality is. It's what the mindset is. And moving forward, I don't ever see, that game turning into anything but that. Obviously I'd always prefer Army complete dominance, but I think those teams are just so similar in match. They understand each other. It's just a great game overall, and look forward to the years coming to just continue to try to, visiting the White House.
Yeah, yeah, that's 2 straight years when you get to visit the White House and see the president is, and that's now 5 straight Service Academy wins for Army, which is just a run that the program hasn't really experienced in a very long time. So just a couple topics I wanted to hit on. First off, let's congratulate your former teammate Ollie Villanueva to being voted a starter in the Pro Bowl. Steve, that's an incredible accomplishment for Ollie. I know you had a really close relationship with him, being captains on the team. Just talk a little bit about that and how proud that is for the program and a football alum to see one of your brothers have so much success at the next level.
Yeah, I mean, whenever talking about Lee, you have to talk about his physical gifts and, just the pure stature of the man is impressive. On top of that, he was an academic All-American. He's an extremely smart dude. But, you shoot Ali a note and you tell him congrats, this is awesome, dude. Like, right? We knew he was going to be a Pro Bowler. And, he responds with, yeah, well, I still got to get better. I don't really think I should have been the starter or whatever. And, the guy is just like he attacked his military career, in the regiment, always looking to get better himself, better those around him. And he's just an impressive guy and truly blessed to have him as a friend. And I think he's expecting his third child here soon.
Wow.
So he's just, got a great family life, and he's just a great guy, and so happy that, his hard work has paid off and it's been noticed around the league.
Yeah, it's really great to see, because Steve, they always, whether the commitment is 2 years, 5 years, how much you spend in the Army, there's always that question of how can an Army football player translate into the pros. And he's somebody that's certainly a guy, and we talked about this last year with Brett Toth, who graduated in May, who will wait his 2 years and possibly look to play in the NFL. So he's definitely a role model for not even just Army football players, not even just soldiers out there, really the country to be proud of, right, Steve? I mean, this is a guy who everybody can look up to, no doubt.
Yeah, literally look up to, and just the way he's attacked life. I mean, he's excelled in everything that he has come to take on in his life, whether that's academics at West Point, sports at West Point, being a leader in the Army, serving in the Special Forces in the Ranger Regiment, graduating Ranger School, jumping out of airplanes. I mean, you whatever you put in front of this guy, he's going to, one, morph his body to dominate at it, and then two, he's going to figure out how to do it the most efficient and best way. I mean, he's just a special guy, and I couldn't be happier for him. I love watching him play, even though I'm a Ravens fan. I love watching him play. I try to watch him every Sunday, Thursday, Monday, whenever he's playing, just because it's fun to watch him play. He's just so big out there, and it's good to talk to him afterwards about it.
Yeah, I think my wife's a Giants fan, but I think Ollie Villanueva is her favorite player, no doubt, in the NFL. Anytime I put something up on Ollie Villanueva, she definitely responds to it. And, now I still remember the day where I walked into the Foley Athletic Center, and one of the equipment managers said was trying to put on a receiver's jersey on Ollie. I'm like, what's going on here? And for his senior year to transform from a starting tackle who played in every game to be Army's leading receiver that year. He played tight end back in the day, but hadn't really caught a pass in a while. It just speaks on the incredible athlete that he was, and just his, like you said, his mindset. I mean, I still, to this day, just the way he transformed himself, like you said, was incredible. Let's talk about the Armed Forces Bowl, Steve. Now you're very familiar with the game. Army 2010, when Army finally got back to a bowl game, you were part of that championship team. You were the MVP of the Armed Forces Bowl. Yes, it was played in Dallas and not Fort Worth, but just you got to have a lot of memories of that game still, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that from just the team getting down there, practicing, being able to kind of be outside of the wire, sort of say, from West Point, and getting that freedom of going out, acting like adults, and having our leaders of each position group make sure our guys had the right mentality and not getting too crazy prior to the game, and knowing that our big celebration was going to come after winning the bowl game. All the times practicing and going out prior to the game, all the things at the Armed Forces Bowl, I think it was the Bill Helicopter Bowl, everything they put on for us before the game, all the SMU versus Army kind of little, competitions they had for us, all that kind of stuff was it was a lot of fun. And, of course, the game itself was just incredible, so to speak. So I super excited about the Army team playing in it again. I mean, I obviously believe we should have been playing, UCF on the New Year's Day, but fortunately, but I think that anytime you get a bowl game, it's a privilege, and the guys are going to be fired up to bring another bowl win back to West Point.
You got an MVP trophy after that game, didn't you, or did you not?
Yes, I did. I got my little MVP trophy. It's still up on my mantle, so I
nice.
Got it in my man cave.
Very, very, very nice, very nice. We'll see who might get that trophy Saturday when Army and Houston meet. And you're right, like I guess I wasn't actually jumping out of my chair when I saw Houston as the opponent for this game. To be honest with you, last year they were able to get San Diego State. Army had a tie-in into the Armed Forces Bowl, and they were able to get San Diego State there, which I thought we saw that game. That was an excellent bowl matchup. High-scoring game down to the wire, and Houston is missing Ed Oliver, Isaiah Johnson, one of its starting corners. They both decided, this game's not that important to me. I'm going to go get ready for the draft, and their quarterback is also hurt, De'Aaron King, with a knee injury, so they're starting a freshman at quarterback, so maybe Army's defense, eyes light up with that. But what's your feelings on the players sitting out the game, Steve, and preparing for the NFL? Is it an individual case, or do you just think that personal pride should come out and you want to finish your career on the field and helping your team maybe out to get a victory?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unique to each person. I don't think I guess I feel like I'm kind of like under the same mindset as Nick Saban. It never hurts playing the game if you're good at it to hire your draft status.
Yeah.
The only guys worry about injury. I don't really guys that I really look at sitting out are the running back. And maybe the defensive tackles. Those are your guys that take the most beating, play to play, and the most freak accidents happen with those guys as far as knees and elbows and shoulders. But overall, I mean, it doesn't bother me. Those guys will regret not playing in the bowl game the rest of their life, no matter what, no matter how they do in their career. It's. You just spent the last 3-4 years with a bunch of your closest friends, and to win a bowl game is one of the best experiences that you can experience. So they'll regret it eventually, but I have no issues with them doing that. They think that's what's best for their career. I mean, this league is not the NFL and college. Nobody really cares. It's only what you can do for me now mindset. So if they feel like that's the best way to prepare themselves, then so be it.
Yeah, you look at you look at possibly it's the opposite motivation for Army with all they have to play for. They no Army's never won 3 straight bowl games. They have the chance to do that on Saturday. 11 games we talked about is on the line. Just the seniors, and you know about this, Steve. When your senior year in the Armed Forces Bowl, you win the game. You finish with a winning record for the first time. We always bring up 1996. You finish with a bowl win for the first time since the mid '80s for Army. There's a lot of personal pride for an Army football team when they go play in a bowl game, like as you remember. And now you look at that's a pretty good. They've sold out this bowl game, right? There are going to be a lot of Army fans there cheering them on. They really have a lot to play for in this game, Steve.
Yeah, and I think Army will always have the extra motivation in a bowl game, and the fact that they know those seniors in a year's time, next December for those seniors will be very different from this December. Basically a complete 180. They won't be in school. They won't be cadet. They will be professionals in the United States Army, either in their basic course or leading young men and women, and some older than them, possibly in combat in a year's time. And that is what makes playing at Army more special than, in my opinion, anywhere in the world.
Yeah, no doubt. You talk one of this team's leaders is Bryce Holland, and Bryce Holland is a guy who I wrote about earlier in the year when he had offers for Army, Navy, and Air Force. He didn't even hesitate. He picked Army because he wanted to be an infantry guy. He watched History Channel with all the wars of the past, and just got really educated on, and really just became really loved the military lifestyle. And this is a guy who will graduate very soon from the academy. He's a 5th-year guy, and who will go right to officers training. I believe he told me maybe in February or March he'll start officers training. And he's a guy, Steve, who really epitomizes this team's rise. He's been a 3-year starter, on the offensive line at center. Before Bryce took over the starting role at center, there were a lot of ball security issues with the center to quarterback exchange. As soon as he took over, Steve, when's the last time we talked about that? In 3 years.
Yep.
We haven't. There've been no issues with that. He's really just talking to Bryce. He's just one of those guys who's a no nonsense guy. He's just he speaks from the heart. He speaks with a lot of passion. And this is a guy that you're talking about. A guy who after this game's over, there've been when you played, right, Mike, was it Mike Gann that had already graduated and was already a second lieutenant, or no?
Yeah, it was Mike Gann and Jason Johnson.
Yeah. So those guys were pretty much gonna, after the game, maybe they got a little bit of a leave time, and then they were going to officers training, right? I mean, it was like, it was pretty snappy. These guys, it's a great point by you, and that, like you said, Bryce Holland wears not only the Army football pride on his sleeve, he also wears the United States Army pride on his sleeve too, and that guy's played through a lot of injuries this season. He's been playing with a bad foot for most of the last month or so, at least. This is the stuff we're talking about. This is how you build a program on toughness and passion, right? It's as simple as that.
It's absolutely true. And with Bryce Holland, I mean, I've talked to him a couple times. There's talks of him possibly coming to the unit I'm in. I told him, if he wants to be a rocket science, that takes a little more than, just being anywhere else in the Army. So, I told him to reach out, let me know if he needs anything, and we should be able to get him here if that's what he wants.
Wow. Hey, where are you right now, Steve? You're not at Fort Campbell, are you?
Yes, sir. I am at Fort Campbell, Rocket Science Brigade, 3rd Brigade.
Wow. That'll be, and there's, like, we've talked about it forever, the Army Football Brotherhood, and I don't think right now, Steve, it's any stronger. I mean, I don't think it could be any stronger right now. Yeah, winning's nice.
I mean, I met with Lieutenant Colonel Adisa King, if you remember that name.
Yeah,
he
sure.
was part of the 96 team. He's a squadron commander here on the division, and I asked him to go. He's about to deploy, and I asked him to, hey, sir, just want to reach out, see you before you leave, blah, blah, blah. And he said, all right, well, let's bring all the brothers in. And we had a Army football brothers lunch on Tuesday, the 18th this week, and we talked Army football, we talked career, had an LPD on everything, and it just goes to show you that no matter where you go, there's going to be a leader who played Army football that continues to bring the team together no matter where it's at.
Yeah. How many former football players did you have there?
We had I think it was 10 show up, and we were missing a couple, maybe 2 or 3 due to the prior engagements with their actual boss.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, like,
so it was a good, on short notice, on a day's notice, that's how many people showed up.
Huh. It's just amazing what has happened with this program under Jeff Monken and how he's really tried to get back the Brotherhood, the Corps cadets, just everybody on the same page. And the success is happening. Army is number 22 in the country. If they beat Houston on Saturday for their 11th win of the season, finish 11-2, they're going to finish in the top 20 of the AP poll, and maybe even next year be preseason ranked next year, which is just an incredible run for the Black Knights. Steve, we've been with it for the last few years watching this. We'll like you said, you'll have the TVs on. I'll have the TVs on in the house, and we'll be watching very closely there against the Houston Cougars tomorrow. And hopefully we'll get back here for one last podcast to wrap everything up. But really appreciate the insight. Hope you and your family have a great Christmas and a great New Year. And we'll get back on this podcast very soon.
That's right. Go Army, beat Houston.